I mean, we all heard the news, right? Well, that's coconut rum. Bacardi. Not sponsored, but they make good shit. I guess it's not really news per se, but more so it's, information that was leaked. It was, it seems to be very credible. And I guess it really shouldn't be surprising to anybody that this is actually happening. But it was recently found out, it was recently leaked that they found a Game Boy Advance emulator for the Nintendo Switch, and there were a lot of games that were being tested on it. Some of these games that were tested were, the kind of games that you would expect. Games like the Metroid Zero Mission and Metroid Fusion. You got Zelda the Minish Cap. Of course, you got the Golden Sun games, which is kind of why we're here. But something also I want to talk about is they actually apparently tested out Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, which is interesting because if this is legit, and most likely it is, this will actually be the first time, I think ever since it even came out, that the GBA version of Chain of Memories will be re-released on anything. So that's kind of a big deal. You're going to need it. Just got to wet the whistle because this also has a lot of people excited because Game Boy Advance games have been highly requested to be on the Nintendo Switch. It's more legacy content that's being added. It's not as highly requested as something as, GameCube or Wii games, but it's still, it's definitely up there. The Wii U had it. So, for the Switch to get it 5 years later, it's about damn time. And if you're genuinely excited for this, hey, more power to you. I'm not trying to take away anything from you. By all means, I'm glad that you're excited. I'm glad you're able to see value and enjoyment. I can't be excited for this because ultimately this doesn't really mean anything. And I hear you say, Ryan, what do you mean that this doesn't mean anything? Surely now the online service is worth it, to which I would say no. No, it's still, I don't think that it's worth it. On paper, maybe, because, we got the Mario Kart DLC, we got the Animal Crossing DLC, which, oh, hey, look, it's DLC for games that not everyone is going to care about. And then we also have just being able to play online, period. We have game trials or something like that. And then, of course, we have what we're all here for, which is Nintendo's legacy content. And this is the real kicker for me because it doesn't feel as if the legacy content is here to make the subscription service or their online service more worthwhile. It feels as if it's here because it's being held hostage. It's like, oh yeah, sure, you want to play Super Mario RPG, you want to play Breath of Fire 2 or Majora's Mask, well, cough up some extra dough and pay for our shitty online service. And I'm still a little half and half on Nintendo's online, in terms of the quality itself, because I've played things like Mario Party online, and I've played Mario Kart, and those seem to run fine. But again, with Smash Ultimate, that's one of your biggest games on the Switch, and it's still, the online is still dog shit. That's kind of a problem. And you want me to pay what, $30 for the family plan with the base plan, or what was it, $80 for the family plan for the expansion pass for that kind of online? That's not okay. So again, they're just adding more stuff that other consoles already had, with the Wii and the Wii U. They had the virtual console, and they had it to the point where it's you could buy these individual games, you could buy the ones that you're interested in, and you could just support that IP. If I remember right, and I could be misremembering, but I think part of the reason why a game like Sin and Punishment 2, for example, why that even got made was because there was so much interest when the first Sin and Punishment went on the virtual console on the Wii. I could be remembering that wrong, but that's what I've always been told. That's what I've always been, that's what I've always heard. You don't really get anything like that with NSO because it's this all-in-one package, and I honestly don't even have a problem with the package itself. I think it's it's smart, and many people have drawn comparisons to what Nintendo currently has with other streaming services, like with Netflix or Hulu or things like that. But the difference here is that with when you stream movies, you could go on your streaming service of choice and be like, oh, hey, well, I want to watch Shattered Glass, for example, and you can watch it, have a great time. But then, you'd be like, oh, well, hey, I really enjoyed that movie. I would like to own that movie, in my collection. So you can go to the store, you can go to Target or Best Buy, pick up a copy, boom. That copy is yours. So then that way, when the service that you are currently subscribed to goes under, you're not shit out of luck. You still have it there. It's still, you can watch that movie whenever you want. With these Nintendo games, you really can't do that. So for example, people really want GameCube support on the NSO, and I mean, well, one, it's because a lot of people my age, that's what we grew up with, and that's kind of what's more, back in 2010, people who grew up with the NES, oh yeah, that was the big appeal, but now it's N64 and GameCube, that's what, people my age are more interested in. So first of all, there's that, but also in the sense where a lot of GameCube games are incredibly rare and they're incredibly expensive. So yeah, we would love to have an easier way to play these games or an easier way to, experience them. But let's say in a few years, Nintendo eventually decides to add GameCube support to NSO, it's oh hey, yeah, here's Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. Enjoy, kids. And then, another 10, 15 years, however long that this service even lasts, if you want to play that on your Switch, and this service is already, it's out, it's done, you can't, the servers are offline, guess what? You're shut out of luck. If you want to play the game, well then spend $400 for a pre-owned copy on eBay. And again, this isn't anything that you haven't heard before, not just from me, but from hundreds or thousands of other content creators on this website. I know I'm not breaking any new ground, but it's just it's frustrating because it's, for me, it's Game Boy Advance support. What's on the Game Boy Advance? It's Golden Sun. What have Golden Sun fans have been asking for? We've been asking for Golden Sun on the Nintendo Switch, and in a weird way, this kind of feels like Nintendo trying to stick a pacifier in our mouths and being oh, hey, yeah, look, you got Golden Sun on your NSO, okay, go run off over there. Hey, Camelot, we need you to make Mario Ultra Tennis Golf 2. When that's not what we want, again, hey, it's cool that Golden Sun can now potentially, we still don't know 100% if this is confirmed or if this is actually happening, but everything is pointing to yes. We finally have a console where we could play the classic Camelot RPGs, Shining in the Darkness, Shining Force 1 and 2. We could play Phantasy Star, Final Fantasy, Dragon Quest, Pokemon, the new Pokemon games, and then on top of that, we can also play Golden Sun. Golden Sun is now a part of the Nintendo Switch JRPG library. I think that is really cool. It's about damn time. It's earned. Golden Sun deserves to be on the Switch, but not in this capacity. So yeah, it's going to be exciting for a lot of people to revisit this and, to be able to play Golden Sun whenever they want, provided they have an online connection. Because again, with these games, you can't play them online. Or excuse me, you can't play them offline. Oh man. It's just important to remember, we can't let this be enough. We need to tell Nintendo that while it's appreciated, this is not going to cut it for us. We need to really drive the point home now more than ever, because again, maybe there's more people who have the expansion pass than I understand, or maybe more people have the expansion pass than I thought. Maybe. And if this is true, well then, hey, these people are going to be able to experience Golden Sun for the first time, and I think that's that's incredible. That's really good. But we need to drive the point home now more than ever. We need to be louder than we've ever been before, that we want what games like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon got, or what Story of Seasons Friends in Mineral Town got. We want what Advance Wars will be getting later this year. This is what we want. If not a remake or a remaster, then a brand spanking new game. So again, if you're excited for this, by all means, be excited. You have every reason to be excited. You have every reason to be excited, especially if you have the expansion pass. You'll be able to, you'll be able to enjoy it. That's awesome, and I'm genuinely happy for you. But don't take your eyes off the prize. Don't forget what it is that we've been yelling about for years. You know, just having it on the NSO for a few years until it inevitably shuts down, that's not going to be enough. Like, if we genuinely want this franchise to be one of Nintendo's heavy hitters, like if we want this to be like one of their frontliners or anything like that, then we got to push for it. We got to keep yelling. We got to keep demanding. And then if Camelot decides to make a new game, or if it's another studio that decides to remake it, we got to be there to support it, provided that it looks good. You know, we don't buy things based off of brand loyalty. You know, I'm 100% against that. But provided that the game looks good, you know, that always needs to be said. We got to be there to support it. Because this right here, I mean, maybe it's enough for some people, but for me, it's not going to be enough. Okay? So while I appreciate the sentiment, while I appreciate the fact that, you know, the Golden Sun games will potentially be on the Nintendo Switch, like there's a 99% chance that it will be on NSO, it's going to be there, and I'm appreciative of it. It's not going to cut it. This is not what fans like myself have been asking for. We've been asking for an actual game that we can go to the store and use our dollar bills to support the IP with. That's what we want. This was a lot harder to do because I y'all ain't seeing this. This is glass number 2. And the real kicker is that, again, like, there's no way to support the legacy content individually. You know, it's like you can't just be like, oh, hey, I'm interested in Drill Dozer, for example. Like, I want to show support for Drill Dozer in the hopes that maybe I can, if enough people buy it, we can get a new game or something. Like, you can't do that. And the thing is, like, I genuinely don't know what Nintendo has to lose, because, like, I think, because, like, you know, you could have the online service where you can play the entire NES or Super Nintendo library, or with the expansion, it'd be the Genesis, the N64, and potentially the GBA library. You know, you could play like the entire library of all of those consoles. You could play all that online, plus with the extra features, like with Mario Kart 64, you could play that online, which I think that's really cool. Same with F-Zero X. That's a really cool idea. But why not just sell these games for like $5 or $10 a pop? Where it's like, yeah, hey, you know, here's Mario Kart 64. You know, you can play this online through the online service. But if you want to play it offline, hey, you know, you can play it offline. Just pay us $10. There you go. And again, it really feels like as if, like I said before, where it's like Nintendo knows that's what we want. You know, that's what we've been asking for. But they're just holding this content hostage because, you know, they want to artificially make their online service seem more worthwhile. And, like, again, I'm not trying to be like, F you, Nintendo, you don't know what we want, because everyone knows that you know what we want. You know, we want to be able to support these lesser-known IPs, or, you know, just to be able to play these games offline. Because, unfortunately, I mean, that's just the kind of the way how these things work, where it's like 5 or 10 years from now, when we get the successor for the Switch, you know, the service for the NSO is going to be offline. So it's like, yeah, it's great that, like, you know, Golden Sun can be alongside, you know, the new Fire Emblem and the new Final Fantasies, or, you know, remaster of the older Final Fantasies and Dragon Quest and stuff like that. But it can only be a part of this library for so long until the service goes under. But you can avoid that if you just let us buy these games outright. Or here's another idea. Let us buy these libraries outright. You know, let us buy the entire library of, you know, let's say for the NES games, however many NES games you got on that service right now, if we buy that outright, $50-$60, right? For however many games. And 64 games, I understand, you know, that's a bit more difficult, but like that way, if, you know, we could play online, you know, we got the service for that. But if you want to play offline, we got like an entire library of N64 games. You'll pay $60 for that. Boom. There you go. Same with the GBA games. Same with Super Nintendo. Well, I mean, we already got that with Genesis, because for some reason, Nintendo is the only company that has like that has like worthwhile legacy content that just refuses to do anything with it. And again, it's frustrating, because this is stuff that I've grown up with, and stuff that I would love other people to experience, but like, do I want other people to experience it this way? You know, like through a service that's not substantial, that's not worthwhile, that's not, heaven forbid, it's not timeless. Like, yeah, sure. Like with the Wii, for example, it's like, yeah, you know, the Wii shop shut down, you know, a few years ago, but my Wii right now, it has a lot of games on it. So if I were to ever be lucky enough to be blessed with a child, and my child wanted to, if I had my Wii around and my child say, "Oh, hey, Star Fox 64, what's that, Dad?" I'll be like, "Well, let me show you." "Oh, hey, Super Mario 64, what's that?" Don't touch that. But the point is, it's about preservation. It's about like preserving your legacy, Nintendo. And isn't that what you want? Because like when you don't give your consumers an option to support your legacy content, they're going to resort to piracy. And it's that famous Gabe Newell quote where it's like, oh, it's not, people are willing to pay for these things. It's just the reason why people pirate is because they're not satisfied with the service. And that's of course not the exact quote, but it's the general idea. And again, Nintendo, if you did this, if you either sold these games individually on the eShop for like $5 or $10 a pop, or if you sold the entire libraries for $60 a pop, like, you did like what Sega does with the collections, or what Konami or Capcom does with their collections, and you charge them $60 for that shit, I'd buy that. And I know I'm not the only one. I know so many people who would do the same. I mean, look at what happened with Mario 3D All-Stars. That's 3 games. That's a collection of 3 games. And the only reason why I think it even sold that well is because you had some FOMO shit going on, the fear of missing out. I don't know. It's just frustrating. And again, like, there's a lot of people on Twitter who are genuinely excited for GBA support. And again, I'm not trying to poo-poo on them. I'm not trying to take that away from them. I'm just saying, remember why we're as loud as we are. Remember what it is that we've been pushing for years. It's not just to have Golden Sun on the Switch and then wipe our hands and be done with it. No, it's so that way, Golden Sun can stay on the Switch. It can be a part of, like, it could be alongside Fire Emblem 3 Houses. It could be with Xenoblade 2 and 3. It could be with Dragon Quest 11 and like all of the Final Fantasy remasters and stuff like that. That's why we want it there, is so it could be a part of something much bigger. And again, Nintendo, like, this is not coming from a place of malice. This isn't me trying to say that you're a horrible company or that the Switch is dog shit or anything like that, because I genuinely love the Switch. Like, it has so much potential to be so much better. And like, it feels like as if you're getting closer and closer and closer to getting it to be one of my favorite consoles. It is one of my favorite consoles, but like, it could be the best. It genuinely can. It could be that Nintendo console that has everything. It really can be. It's so close. It has everything right there. They just have to do it. They just have to take that extra step. And like, I'm saying this because like, I'm not ready for a Switch 2. I'm not ready to move on from the Switch yet. We don't know when this next Switch is coming out, whether it's a Switch Pros, the next Switch or the next console or whatever like that. But I'm not ready for that yet. I don't think Nintendo's ready for it either, because the Switch doesn't seem to be slowing down. But like, that's why I make stuff like this. That's why I make these kind of videos. I don't make it because I want to yell and be angry and stuff like that. I'm saying this because like, I see potential. I see, something that I care about. It's trying to do good. It is trying to be better. And like, I'm just trying to be like, no, what you are currently doing, I know what you're trying to do. You're doing it wrong. Try doing it like this. But I mean, what do I know? I'm not a CEO. I'm just some guy on the internet. I'm just, a customer. The people that buys your games and all that kind of stuff. I mean, how do you know what I want? How do I know what I want? Who am I? Just a loyal customer. And I have been for the past 15 years, maybe? What do I know?